Welcome to Protecting Every Future's Kitchen Table. We are looking forward to another great conversation here about life insurance and how we help support and protect Americans' families. And today we have a real treat because we have the chair of the American Council of Life Insurers Board, Andy Sullivan, who is also the head of Prudential's International Business and Global Investment Management. And nobody better to talk about our favorite subject, exactly how life insurers protect families, not just in the U.S., but around the globe. So welcome, Andy.
It's great to be here. It's my favorite subject, too.
Well, great. Well, we're just going to jump in. I'd like to know more about your story. What motivated you to pursue a career in financial protection?
Well, and you know my background. It took me a long time to get to the insurance industry.
You were into protecting the
I was
country.
into protecting. I was in the military first and
Yes.
some other jobs in between. And I never thought I would get to the insurance industry because my father was an independent insurance agent. And like a typical child, I said, I never want to be like my father. I never want to do that. But, as I became an adult and after I finished with the military, I said, I want to do something that has meaning. I want to do something that has purpose. I want to do something that helps people. At the same time, I have 4 children and a family, and I want to do something that I can make a good living at. And I quickly came to understand and learn the financial services space, and in particular, the life insurance space was a good place to plod my career.
And life insurance, it really allows you to engage with people and helping them protect their families in a fundamental way.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes people, when they hear the word life insurance, they think more narrowly. They think literally just about a death protection product. But our industry is so broad, and we do so many things, how we help people from very young ages as they accumulate their assets and their money into their retirement. So it's about protection, it's about retirement. It includes helping protect incomes from a disability perspective. So it's just so broad, the different ways that we help people throughout the whole circle of their life.
Do you have a favorite story of when moments when you knew you were really helping people?
Probably one of my favorite stories is actually not my story, but one of the individuals that worked for me, actually at 2 different companies. He worked for me when I was at Cigna, and then worked for me at Prudential. And I never knew this. He was just a fantastically talented individual. And I learned about his life story. And this is when he was with me at Prudential. And he had never shared with me before that he went through an unbelievable tragedy in his life when he was a freshman in college. His father was struck by a car and killed. And his father was the sole breadwinner, and his mother stayed at home. And he said Prudential actually paid a life insurance policy that enabled his family to continue, that actually enabled him to finish college and actually, go back into the industry and pay back. I hear stories like that every single day of how we help families. I mean, look, families go through some very hard times, from some tragic times. So for us to be able to be there and do our little part and deliver on the promises that we've made so that they can move forward and move on with the rest of their lives is just very special.
Well, and as we like to say, we're really there for all stages. If you look at the whole array of ways that the life insurance industry supports people, we're there to celebrate the birth of a child. We're there if somebody gets hurt and can't work. We're there at the time somebody retires. And if there's a death in the family, it's a whole, all stages of life support, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's funny, as my children are aging and they're going through those various milestones, I'm the very first one to say, well, now that you're married, now that you're expecting a child, because our industry is there to help. But I think we have a big job in front of us because there's still such a large gap. If you think about life insurance as an example, the $12 trillion life insurance gap, so many consumers and individuals don't really think about what they need to be doing, the right steps they need to be taking to protect themselves and their families. And I think at times have a perspective that, I can't afford that or I can't do that, which, is not true. So we have a big job in front of us from an association perspective, from Prudential perspective, to continue to educate, continue to make our products better and more affordable so that we help a broader swath of the population.
Yeah. And we learn, our children provide a focus group for us on sort of what gets their attention as they experience different stages of life, and how can we advise and guide. And it finally rings true. Oh, this is what Dad was doing all these years, right?
Well,
or this is what Mom was doing all these years.
yeah, well, for many years, my children thought my job was just talking on the phone. Right? That's all he does is talk on the phone. But it's interesting. So I went through, my father was in insurance. I said, oh, I don't want to do that. That's not valuable. I had the awakening. Now, as my children are getting older, they're saying, oh, I actually get what you do for a living. I understand how important it is and why it should fit in my life.
Well, we all have those moments with our children, thankfully. So you also have a unique perspective on financial protection and just some of the gaps we're talking about, the needs that people have. You have a perspective around the globe. You know, there's different cultures, countries, governments, all different, but there's similarities, right, in what the people's needs are. So what's your worldview?
So I would tell you the biggest similarity, and as you know, I've been on a world tour over the last 6 months in all parts of it, Africa, Asia, Latin America. The one common thing that I feel everywhere I go is people very much care about their families. Mm-hmm. They want to provide for their families. They want to protect their families. And that's common in every culture. I think sometimes in the United States we might think, oh, well, we care for our families better, or we care about our families more. I could tell you, I heard when I was in China that they have a perspective that, oh, they care more about family than in America. It's all hogwash. As I go everywhere around the world, people care about people. Right. They want to protect their loved ones. They want to move forward financially and have security. Now, every different market is different in what does that mean? What does that look like? Because there's obviously very different GDP levels. There's different. One of the biggest differences is what's the governmental safety net that's in place or isn't in place, and how do we work with that and augment that as an industry? But at the end of the day, people are trying to make sure that they're caring for their families.
And that's fundamental, and why we're proud to be there as an industry. Well, and then there's just the economic challenges affect companies, but life insurers have proved to be pretty resilient for almost 200 years in some cases. So how is it that the industry weathers everything from war to pandemic to rising interest rates, lowering interest rates, all the things that happen?
Well, I would probably name two things that come to mind. One is we do things the right way as an industry. At the end of the day, sometimes it's frustrating how meticulous and detailed oriented these jobs are. But as an example, as we've talked before about general account management and what the chief investment officers do across the various firms, they take their jobs very seriously. We're making promises that we need to deliver on over 30, 40, 50 years. We need to appropriately manage with the right degree of conservatism the assets that we back those liabilities with. Mm-hmm. We've gotten that right as an industry. And COVID was a great example where we paid, the stats better than I do, billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Record numbers.
And no, without any issues financially for the firms, and actually as an industry paid claims that contractually we weren't required to pay in certain instances. So like in Brazil, for us, we weren't contractually required to pay some of the COVID claims we paid, but we felt because of the promises we made, it was the right thing to do. But it's because of the quality of the talent, the detail orientation of how we manage the assets. The other thing I would say, though, is it's because we have a good, healthy regulatory environment that makes sure that all companies that are in the space, in the industry, are doing things to the right standard, are doing things in the right way, and we tend to not see bad actors.
So bottom line, this industry has a great heart, right? And it's a very mission-driven industry and profession and business, financial security for all. So I'll close with the last question. What would you say to any young person or parent of a young person who is listening to this conversation? Why should you consider a career in the life insurance industry?
Well, so from my own children, I know that purpose orientation probably is the highest priority in how they think about where they want to spend their time and what they want to do. And the pitch I would give is, if you want to make a difference, a real difference in the lives of individual people day in and day out, there's no better industry, there's no better space than what we do. Whether it's protecting from premature death, or making sure there's an income there when someone gets injured or ill, or just making sure helping people along the path to retirement and then being able to have the retirement that they desire. Every single day, we help millions and millions of people be healthier, be happier, and just enjoy life more. And I can't think of a better purpose than that. And I think that resonates with everyone's younger to me today, but the younger generation.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Andy Sullivan, for all you do to make a difference. Andy Sullivan, our chair of the board of Prudential, and making a difference with purpose every day. Thank you.